Hey everybody, it's Christine up with Simple Stories today and using the Hip Hop Hooray collection. Now, when I first initially saw this collection, just a brief look at it, I thought it was just going to be Easter themed. However, it is not. It has a lot of just general spring elements. So if you're thinking, oh, I don't really want an Easter collection, don't worry. Like, about a quarter of it is really Easter and the rest of it is spring. So that said, I really didn't know what direction I wanted to go. Did I want to go Easter? Did I want to go spring? And the funny thing that happened is I used Easter pictures and I used an Easter title. However, my layout mostly uses more spring elements. Like there's not Easter eggs or bunnies or anything on it. So that's kind of funny. And again, you know, if you don't love those elements for Easter, you definitely are not locked into them. So I'm using that great wood gray background, kind of the brownish gray tinge to it. And then the next thing I'm doing is what I really built my whole layout on, and that was the flowers and this title. The words Happy Easter, as you can see, the Easter word is in all different colors for each letter. I wanted to put stripes of patterned paper behind it that would coordinate with it and stretch the title all the way up and down the layout. I originally thought I'd do it for all 6 letters. However, I really liked the way it looked with 4, so I used just 4. And I used papers from my 6x8 paper pad so that I didn't have to cut into the 12x12 papers since I was using such a small amount of them. So I just used those instead. And then as you can see, I plopped that title there on top of all these flowers. Now at this point, the flowers are strictly ephemera, and then they're going to grow to use other elements from the collection. And what I'm trying to do right now is just make sure I'm happy with the placement, get the stripes on there straight, all those little things that happen. Really, the title is the focal point above the, not above, but beyond the pictures for this layout. So it's really important to me that I get it on there and get it in a position that I'm happy with. And especially, you know, when you've got that many stripes going on, you want to make sure you keep things straight. So you can see I'm making a lot of use out of my T ruler, which is technically probably an L ruler right now because I broke it. So I need to pick up a new one of those, but it's still getting the job done. It just is missing that one part of the top of the T. But you can see I'm using it to make sure I get things on there straight, which is taking a long time. It's not a super fast process, unfortunately. But that's okay too, because really once I've created this focal point, the rest of the layout just flows together really nicely. And I don't have to do too much more. As you can see, I've got circular pictures sitting there off to the side. 2 pictures of my daughter from Easter last year. And I opted for circles because I just felt like I had a real soft feel to the layout already. And if I had used squares, I felt like it was going to be too much rigidity. Even though there's a lot of lines already going on, there's not so many that it makes things real graphic looking. Right now, I've got a soft floral, I don't know if feminine's the right word, but design going, that just brings out all the softer, springy elements of the collection. And so aside really from my stripes behind the title, I've got very few sharp edges. Even the wood grain background is really soft and kind of a farmhouse feel too. You know, the springy farmhouse look. The colors in this collection are somewhat saturated and darker and pastels, but not pastel, not super light. So we've got like the lighter pink in there, and then you've got that darker, more saturated, rich pink. A really nice combination, but definitely not like a super light pastel collection, which is not really my style anyway, so I was happy that it had a little more of the bold colors involved in it. One of the things that I was really concerned about with using this Happy Easter title was the black writing. I was concerned about how I was going to tie that into the rest of the layout. But by choosing the wood grain background, those stripes on the wood grain definitely help to not make the black look so stark in comparison. So I was really happy with that because I really didn't have to do anything else to tie that in nicely. Now you can see I'm going to tuck my photos in. At this point, I've got flat stripes, but I've got elevated flowers, elevated title, and so my pictures are actually going to go on there flat to really play up that dimension that I've already got going on. And I am going to tuck the bigger, more focal picture on the right-hand side of the title and the smaller one on the smaller side. The stripes are obviously about at the 1/3 point on the layout, and so I have 2/3 of the space to fill up on the other side of it. So definitely the bigger picture over there makes sense. A funny thing about this layout and collection is that I actually had so many ideas as I looked at the patterned papers that I had a hard time narrowing it down. So my approach to this one was actually I started 3 different layouts and I just started them and saw which one I felt like was flowing the best, which one I most wanted to share on the Simple Stories page, and then set the other 2 aside, and I will be finishing them and I will be sharing them with you. But I kind of needed to see which idea really took off, especially for highlighting what I wanted to highlight from this for Simple Stories. So that was kind of different. I've never done that before. But it's good because I've got to start on some other stuff and hopefully I can finish those up. You may even see those come out before this one. But definitely keep an eye on my channel here so that you can see those or look back to see if I've done anything else in the previous few days that would have covered it for you. Definitely just a very versatile and fun collection. Lots you can do with it. Now you can see I am, as I said earlier, I was just using ephemera for the flowers. Now I'm adding in stickers. I'm adding in chipboard. I am really just bulking up my floral line across the center here. And I'm just going to build up this massive cluster of flowers that goes all the way across there. And I'm also going to add in just a few hearts just because it's a nice change in shape and still communicates the story well. This was one of those layouts where I actually stepped away from it, and the point at which I step away was actually going to be the end of the video, and then I come back to it and add just a few teeny tiny little details onto it off camera, and I will definitely point those out and talk to you in the close-up pictures here at the end because I don't want you to miss out on that. But my struggle in creating it is, as you can see, I've got a lot already going on. I've got great color, I've got good layers, I've got dimension, the pictures are on there. And so my struggle was, where do you stop? And that is a pretty regular struggle for us scrapbookers. Where do you stop? When have you gone too far? And when do you need to pull back? I would love to know from you down in the comments below. What kinds of things do you do when you aren't sure if you're at a stopping point or if you should continue? As I said, for me, I walked away. I stepped away from the layout for the night and came back to it and looked at it the next morning. So after I put on all of this layer, or all of these layers of flowers, I just didn't know. And it's kind of funny. I actually asked my 2 older kids what they thought. Does it need more or does it need less? Or not even, well, not less, because I wasn't worried about that. But really, does it need more? Because my style tends to be not tons and tons of white space, which at this point you can see I do have a lot of white space. But just because that doesn't tend to be my style doesn't mean that it doesn't look good. So all that said, here's the extra details I added on. I added on my journaling with a little cluster of flowers and hearts down by it. You can see those hearts and stuff right there, as well as the enamel dots. And then up top, I added a little cluster and just a quick little phrase from the ephemera. And there you have it. A really beautiful, lovely collection. Definitely want to check it out for Easter and for spring this year. All from Simple Stories. Head to their website to see more details up close, and we will see you again next time.